way back when. Thank you. What skill do you bring to council that you feel council needs most?
I have a lot of experience with customer service. Over the years, I've had retail and public communications, so I feel that reaching out to the public and listening to the community and hearing what they have to say and bringing new ideas to the table and what they find that would be the best interest in resolving issues would be what I could bring to the table.
Great. This time I'll open up questions to the councils.
Yes.
Councilman Anders?
Sure. Besides the parks, what other issues do you see in the borough, and what would you?
I would say probably roadways and sewer a little bit.
Okay.
I know there's a couple things that we are currently trying to work on and update. And experientially, I can say, especially on my road, I know that we've had extensive work done in the sewer, and then we've had issue with the paving that we've had to redo.
Sixth Street. Anybody else?
On your letter here, it says you have a variety of civil and community activities. Do you serve on any boards in Emmaus? Or
No,
any community?
just volunteer committees. One directly in Emmaus, which would be St. John's UCC, and then Reads Across America, which is actually Lehigh Valley. And I do not sit on the board, but I do help volunteer. I work with the committee and pulling in volunteers and funds for raising money for the Reads.
Okay.
Is that the one that's for veterans?
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
yes.
Anybody else, a question? All right. Ms. Keynes, is that how you say it?
It's actually Case.
What is it?
Yes.
Case. Thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 6 more candidates, and then we'll figure things out. 909. Hello, Courtney Kennedy. Welcome to the Emmaus Borough Council.
Thank you.
We're going to ask you 4 questions that we asked everyone else, and then we're going to open up the questions to council. First, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would like to be on council.
I am a resident of Emmaus who's been here since 2003. I have 3 children. My husband was, for a long time, a reporter for the Morning Call. He's been entrenched with the community for a while, served on some different boards, and am just interested in seeing if my credentials or if I can be a help to the borough with the openings.
Great, thank you. What do you believe are the challenges facing the community today, and what do you believe would be your role in helping us face those challenges?
Well, I know you have a sewer issue going on, I&I infiltration issues. So this is something that I do know very well. As a consulting engineer, I'm working with a lot of different cities to help them manage their assets, figure out how to spend their money when it comes to pipes in the ground and manholes and other assets, as well as come up with master plans and work with their agencies, for example, with Al-Qasan in Pittsburgh, and working with other municipalities that the municipalities that bring their water down to the wastewater treatment plant, and figure out how best to work with the EPA and to limit their I&I and bring everything with limited budgets. So that's something that I do. I think that that's something that could be helpful to the borough.
Thank you. The bulk of our work gets done at the committee level. For the most part, our committees meet in the afternoon between 3 and 5. Some committees even meet in the mornings. With your schedule, are you going to be able to do this? Additionally, council members traditionally commit between 25 and 30 hours per month to this position between meetings, preparation, events, and engaging with members of the public. Do you feel that you have the time to dedicate to this?
Well, I'm a teleworker, so that means that I have flexibility. When I was on the school board at 7 Gen, I was constantly running down there to help out. So I do have to travel to different cities around the country periodically, but the majority of my work is done at home. So I do have that flexibility to make afternoon meetings, and for the most part, I can tell people when I'm available and set up my own travel schedules.
All right, thank you. What skill do you bring to council that you feel council needs most?
I think that, well, I feel like I would have a lot to learn, of course, to be on the borough and have to learn from you all. I am the kind of person who has worked on with a variety of people with different goals. I enjoy working with small groups of people. I think that when it comes to making hard decisions, and also with a community that you want to help, but you know you're limited to what you can do to help them. There's only a certain number of options. There's certainly only so much the board can do, so much the council can do. There's only so much wiggle room in your budgets. So all of those things, I have an understanding of that. So whereas we might try to come up with creative ideas for our financial needs when it comes to grants and other things like that, the understanding that we have to try to do what's best, and we have to make these tough decisions, and we have to form a bond and understand each other's points.
Great, thank you. I'm going to open questions to council now. I actually have a question. So you say your business takes you out of town occasionally.
Yes.
How would you say that, how often that is? Is it once a month? Is it once every 6 months? And when you do travel out, is it for one day or is it for a week? So how often does that happen?
So when I travel, right now I'm in a period where I travel about once a month. When I do, it's typically for 2 nights. I'll usually do 2 nights. I'll leave first thing Monday morning and be back by Wednesday afternoon. That's what I typically do. Now my projects are more in Pittsburgh, so I'll drive out to Pittsburgh, I'll spend a night, drive back. Sometimes I'll go to Atlanta, and I'll catch the first flight out of the Lehigh Valley Airport in the morning and come back at the 3 o'clock flight out of the Atlanta airport, so I'm back by 5 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Just to follow up on what Brent asked then, but if you were to be put on council, is it something that if you know far enough ahead your schedule for council, that you can usually work those things around there, or are they pretty much set by somebody else? Like, can you say I'm not available those days or no?
I would say that 95% of the times that I travel, I'm able to say ahead of time, oh, no, that date doesn't work for me, let's push it to the next week.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, you kind of mentioned the borough and the city of Ojai. Just, what is your take on our current situation?
I don't know enough to be able to consult you on that right now, but I do have enough experience with enough utilities around the country that I might be able to help you ask the right questions
Okay.
when it comes to that, yeah. And knowing some of the options, and also I have a network of people that I work with who are also very knowledgeable.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else on council? All right. Thank you. Is it Mrs. or Ms.?
Mrs.
Mrs. Kennedy, thank you very much. And you're more than welcome to stick around. We have 5 more, I guess.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out where we're going from there.
And I just wanted to say, it's pretty impressive to see everybody back there, so good luck with your decision. It was actually fun to be back there and to get to know everybody, so.
Nice.
Thank you.
Your next candidate, Aaron McLean, did not show up. So he'll be doing John Rayner.
Yes, please. Yep. Mr. John Raynard, welcome to the Emmaus Borough Council.
Thank you.
We're going to ask you 4 questions that we asked all the candidates, and then we're going to open up questions to the council people.
Great.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on council.
My name is John Renard. I am 46 years old. Moved to UMass in 2009 when my wife's grandmother was terminally ill. We stayed in the area of the Lehigh Valley specifically so our kids could know my wife's grandparents because family is very important to us. So even before I lived in UMass, my family had a connection to UMass. And I've watched this town, and I've watched it do lots of really nice things, not just the town, but the school district as well over the last, 30 years roughly. And I'm happy that I've been able to be directly a part of that since 2009. And one of the things I think that I'd like to be able to give back to the borough is, as someone who used to work for financial services companies and investment banks, I can help the borough to avoid crises like what happened to the Bethlehem Area School District, where they made a deal with Morgan Stanley, which cost them almost $100 million. And, both as a taxpayer and someone who thinks UMass is doing something nice and would like to see that continue, I'd love to be able to bring that type of service and that expertise to the borough's, set of skills, basically. I think this is a great town. I ran for state legislature in 2012, in large part because I thought I could win UMass, and I'm still the only Democrat to win UMass in an election since the 70s, so I'll take it for what it is. Just like Borough Council, I'm not particularly partisan. I ran as a Democrat because that's where the open spot was, and I thought there should be a choice. But if my campaign website was still up, you could see lots of pictures of Renard, Romney, Dent in people's front yards. So, I went across party lines in who I got votes for, particularly in UMass. If it weren't for McCungy, well, I would be a state legislator and probably too busy to do this, but...
Those rascally Republicans out there, right? All right. What do you believe are the challenges facing our community today, and what do you believe would be your role in helping us to face those challenges?
I see UMass having a couple challenges right now. One of the challenges is nationally, America is facing a transition from a industrial-based economy where people go to a workplace to a service-based economy where people often are working at home. I think UMass would be exactly positioned to be the type of place that people having telecommuting jobs would want to live. We have good schools, we have relatively good access to recreation and things to do, we have very good hospitals nearby. I think UMass could really capitalize on that transition in the economy. A problem I see that UMass has on the horizon, though, is one of the larger employers in UMass, Rodale, is closing right now, and there's a lot of things that are going to need to be done with all the properties that Rodale either owns, recently owned, or has transitioned to the new owner of Rodale. And, I've done some business broking in my life, so I have a little bit of experience in finding bidders for things and stuff like that. And the last thing I would ever want to see for UMass is that large property that's a half a mile from my house, that's the primary Rodale property where the employees go, become a brown space the way that Bethlehem Steel was near my old house in Bethlehem. It was terribly depressing to go on the 3rd floor of my house and look out and see Bethlehem Steel still sitting there doing nothing, and I would tirelessly work to find companies that would want to move into that building or redevelop that property, and I would look to do whatever it took to redevelop that property in a way that's going to benefit the people of UMass and the people who live near that property, because blighted industrial or even old service spaces do not add to a community. They're a problem.
Thank you. The bulk of our work gets done at the committee level. For the most part, committees meet in the afternoon between 3 and 5. Some committees even meet in the morning. With your schedule, are you going to be able to do this? Additionally, council members traditionally commit between 25 and 30 hours per month to this position between meetings, preparation, events, and engaging with members of the public. Do you feel you have time to dedicate to this?
I am self-employed, so my schedule has a fairly high degree of flexibility to it. My son is autistic, so occasionally, he takes priority over everything, work, whatever. But for the most part, if I have an obligation to be somewhere, I can meet it. I take client calls at 4 o'clock in the morning at times, so maybe I make myself a little too available. But I'm sure that borough business won't happen at 4 o'clock in the morning regardless.
Unless the snow plows are out.
Where the garbage trucks don't pick up.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy who takes the angry calls about the garbage, that's for sure.
What skill do you bring to council that you feel council needs most?
Well, I'm very result deterministic and pragmatic. I'm not sure that borough isn't already doing this, but I think maybe I have a little bit more financial grounding with having worked at both in the financial field and having an MBA in finance from Lehigh, that, there are things I can bring to council. For example, knowing how different types of debt notes are structured, because I know the borough does have some debt. I mean, it's not like an overwhelming amount. This is nothing like Bethlehem or Allentown, but we still have financial instruments as a borough that we deal with, and I think that I could help to polish those with the providers that are providing them to us, because I know how they structure these notes because I used to work where these notes were structured, and I may be able to find ways for them to still make proper profit and want to work with us while we still get a better deal for Emmaus.
Interesting. At this time, we'll open it up to council members to ask questions. Anybody have a question? Go ahead.
Yep. Same question I've been asking mostly everyone this evening. Do you have any involvement in any community events within the borough? Any kind of boards you serve on? Any kind of volunteer stuff that you do?
I'm not serving on any organized boards in the borough at the moment, but I do have a organization that provides SAT help to kids who are disadvantaged, and that's my job from many years ago. I used to work for the Princeton Review doing precisely that, and when I was doing that for a living, I set myself a life goal to always help people that could not afford those classes once I didn't work there anymore. And so in the last roughly 8 years since I've lived in the borough, I've personally helped out about 25 or 30 students. And that's not a small commitment per student. This is a 30 or 40-hour commitment per student. So I try and take 3 or 4 kids under my wing every year who people over at the school say, this kid really should go to college, but nobody in his family has ever gone to college, and they don't know how to even navigate this process. I'm like, hey, I used to do this. I'll do my best, Most of the kids, it works out, too. I mean, if they put the work in, you can do it.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Hearing no more questions, Mr. Reynard, thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stick around. We have 3 more candidates to interview.
Thank you very much.
I think,
Okay, let me see.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Dan Schmidt. Welcome to the Emmaus Borough Council.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you 4 questions that we asked all the candidates,
Okay.
and then we're going to open up the questioning to the council members then. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the council.
Yeah, so my name's Dan Schmidt, and I moved here in about 2008. Came from upstate New York, went to school at Syracuse University, lived in New York City for about 11 years. And then my wife is actually from this general area, so we moved out here to kind of start our family. ended up buying a house in Emmaus in 2008 and fell in love with the town, with the place. I was just talking out in the hallway. I think a lot of people don't understand how great it is being here. Me kind of moving around and living in different areas. There's a lot of great stuff happening in Emmaus and in the general Lehigh Valley area. So it's a wonderful place, and just something that I kind of wanted to be a part of. Specifically, why I'm interested in a position like this. I think a lot of people don't take responsibility for what's happening around them. And I think this is a great opportunity for me to take responsibility and to do something great for the community that I ended up living in and kind of falling in love with.
Great. We like hearing those things.
Great.
What do you believe are the challenges facing our community today, and what do you believe would be your role in helping us face those challenges?
So to be honest, I'm kind of, I don't know a lot about how the council works, so I had some questions. I don't know if that comes after or if I can ask.
You're
them
more
now.
than welcome to ask.
Great. So as far as how the council works, is it, do you get the opportunity to go out and find things to sort of fix, or is it just that issues come to the council and you?
So we have a committee
Deliberate.
structure where we have 7 committees, and each council member is on 3 committees, and one of which you chair.
Okay.
So all those things that you're talking about are addressed in those committees. So we have
Great.
the Safety Committee, we have Public Works, we have Parks and Recreation, we have the
CRD,
CRD, which is
Community Relations and Development.
Community Relations and Development, and then we have Budget and Finance Committee, we have
Health and Sanitation.
Health and Sanitation Committee, and Zoning,
Okay,
and there's one, we're missing one, and General Administration Committee.
great.
So between those 7 committees, you'll be on 3 of them,
Okay.
and we address all those issues at the committee level before we even bring it to council.
Yeah, yeah. So my background is in, I've worked in human resources for about 17 years, specifically around the areas of like what they call talent management, which is like performance appraisals, it's succession planning, disciplinary actions, development plans, career ladders, and things like that. I also work a lot with technology, so implementing systems and things. So I don't think, it doesn't sound like there's exactly something in that line, but I've done a lot of like project management type work, a lot of analysis, and just like gathering information and making decisions the best I can based on the available information that I have. So any of those committees where you think my skills would fit in, I'm happy to join those.
Right, and what we usually do is we ask each council member to write down what 3 committees they would be interested in.
Sure, okay.
So, speaking of committees, bulk of our work is done at the committee level. For the most part, committees meet in the afternoon between 3 and 5. Some committees even meet in the mornings. With your schedule, are you going to be able to do this? Additionally, council members traditionally commit between 25 and 30 hours per month to the position between meetings, preparation, events, and engaging with members of the public. Do you feel that you'll have time to dedicate to this?
So knowing that you meet 3 to 5 for some of the committees, or so I work actually in Burlington, New Jersey, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away. So that would be difficult unless by meeting you can do like telecommuting or calling in. No. Okay. So that would be
I don't think at the
difficult for me.
committee level we can do that. We can do that at council meetings, but I don't think at the committee
Sure.
level.
So that was actually one of my other questions, is the time commitment and the hours that are usually spent. So you're thinking it's 30 hours a month?
20 to 30.
20 to
Well,
30?
if you, if it's the budget season, it's going to be more to 30. If it's other times of the year, it could be less.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So, what skill do you bring to council that you feel council needs most?
So kind of like what I had mentioned earlier, by my job, I spend a lot of time gathering information, using that to make decisions on various either projects or processes that we build in human resources or for my company. So I think that's one of my strong points, is looking at information, coming up with options, thinking of the best way to make those decisions.
All right, this time I'm going to open up the questioning to council.
So, you sounded like you probably couldn't make the committees. Does that basically preclude you then, you feel, from being on council?
I guess it would depend on the committee and when they meet. If they meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because I do work, that would be difficult. If they meet later at 6, I could do that.
I know the three I met that have been on has been either 3 o'clock, 3:30, and one was at 4 o'clock the
Yeah.
past, couple of years. And if not, we do have many great commissions that could use volunteers and people. I'm
Sure.
not sure if you're aware of that. So if this does not work, that would be something that you could contribute, because it sounds like you have a lot to give.
Yeah.
And we do have other avenues, so it's just something,
That meet in the evening.
yeah, that there's needs that you might be able to,
Yeah.
still assist, and that would be for anyone in the room, if it doesn't work out, please, look at the other opportunities that we have here.
Sure. Actually, back in 2010, I think it was, I was on the Arts Commission for a little while,
That's
so
probably with him.
it could be.
I've been on that since the beginning.
So yeah, it's good to know that there's other things out there like that, so.
Any other
Thank you.
questions from council? Mr. Schmidt, thank you very much,
Great.
and you're more than welcome to stick around. We have 2 more interviews to
All
conduct.
right, thank you.
When I sit down, I always try to drink.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
This is just water.
Thought it was the last one. Trying to figure out what I'm reading.
Podium. The podium.
Everybody thought it was gonna be seated.
Mrs.
Hello.
McManaman, welcome to the Emmaus Borough Council.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. Great opportunity.
We're going to ask you 4 questions that we asked all the other candidates, and then we're
Okay.
going to open up questioning to the council members.
Okay, great.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on council.
I am a 30-year resident of Emmaus Borough, and I have worked my entire career living here in Emmaus, first at Rodale as an advertising director, and then with the JG Press. And I have, within the last 12 years, I guess, I have exclusively volunteered all of my time in Emmaus. So I am currently the Emmaus Arts Commission President. I chair Snow Blast Winter Arts Festival. I also sit on the Emmaus Main Street Partners. I just recently resigned from the Economic Development Committee. I have worked with the Emmaus Historical Society. I've worked with the Emmaus Heritage Alliance. And I have also had the opportunity, because of all those roles, to interact with Borough, with you guys as council. I've had the opportunity to interact with CRD, with Public Works, with the fire department, and with the police department. And I think it's time for me to take my volunteerism, my professional experience, and take it to the next level.
To the pay level of $3,000 a year.
Now,
Well,
the
no.
right answer to that
What
is
is
that
it?
we don't do this for money.
2,800. I'm sorry, I made it too
Don't-
high.
none of us do
Hi,
this.
give it a raise there.
Is it
All-
28? Shane, what is it now? I don't even know.
I have to tell you, all the people that I just sat in that room with are amazing. And there is not one that I would not love to sit with on any committee. So none of us are doing it for money. I
You know,
know.
there's more than
Yes.
one person that said that. It's nice to hear. What do you believe are the challenges facing our community today, and what do you believe would be your role in helping us face those challenges?
Of course, economic development, I think, is glaring right now. I think there are a lot of businesses in town who are struggling. I think that they just need more resource. They need more help on the street. And I think that having someone like me who works within the Lehigh Valley as well, with the Chamber of Commerce, and being able to help those folks with economic development, I think that that is the biggest challenge, I think, for us right now.
Great.
Growing this community instead of seeing a lot of the businesses that are unfortunately having to shutter.
Thank you. The bulk of our work gets done at the committee level. For the most part, committees meet in the afternoon between 3 and 5. Some committees even meet in the mornings. With your schedule, are you going to be able to do this? Additionally, council members traditionally commit between 25 and 30 hours per month to this position between meetings, preparation, events, and engaging with members of the public. Do you feel you have the time to dedicate to this?
Well, actually, within the last few months, because I was looking at if something happened with Borough Council, I have started to step away from a lot of my volunteer roles so that I would actually have the time to do that. Yes, it will be a challenge for during the day, but I'm committed to this as well as my employers are as well.
Thank
so
you.
it won't be a problem.
What skill do you bring to council that you feel council needs most?
I know, looking at all of you guys, which I'm always up here, when I'm at this podium, I'm either begging for, like, can we do something with some event, or, having that PR eye and having the marketing, but also rounding that out with, I know how to budget, I know how to create consensus, I know how to build projects, build committees. So I think I bring more of the emotional side, if you will, the business, the smart emotion to the business of what council needs. Marketing, we need a lot more out in the street. People need to understand what we are doing with the new borough building. They need to know what we're doing, with the haulers. I think I bring a different eye to that because I'm always thinking about the people needing to understand what's really going on. So it's the marketing, advertising bend that I bring.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll open up the questioning to council members. Anybody have a question for Mrs. McManaman?
You mentioned the struggling local businesses, and I was just wondering, what do you think is one concrete way that we can support local businesses?
I think by having actual workshops for the businesses, having them understand that they're not alone in it, but they're the ones that are paying for the brick and mortar. But there might be some resources that we can provide that they aren't even aware of. They're just trying to keep their doors open and sell to people. They don't have the time to be able to go out and find the resources. I think that's one of a very good thing that we could help with. But partnering with the Economic Development Committee, and that's why I think as a community, support our Emmaus Main Street partners, because they bring that to the community as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? Roy?
Terry, throughout your volunteering whirlwind, you've done everything that I can imagine, I know. What would you say, coming to council, that you're on the other side of it, and if someone comes to you with something that's maybe whirlwind, how would you go about listening to them and trying to find out their way of what they want to do, or maybe it's something crazy that you got to say no to, but you're like, I know you, I've worked with you. How can you step into that other hat, per se?
Well, I think if I understand you, so if people are coming with ideas like for Community Park and someone wants to do an arts festival, how do I step back as a council person?
Correct.
And well, I think that's what we do in our everyday jobs anyway. We're always making these choices. I am a Pollyanna and I am a resource. And I don't think I don't ever tell somebody no, but I want to, behind the scenes, be able to tell them, we can help you, we can nurture you. It might not be the right time now, but we can help you develop this idea. Plus, there are so many commissions that we have and committees in this borough that people don't even realize that there are already things in place and resources in place that might be able to help develop an idea.
Excellent.
Did I answer that?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's
It
good.
didn't feel like I did.
My only other question would be and you hit it, volunteerism. How can you help the council then recruit new volunteers? Because as you know, that is one of the driving forces for our commissions, and I know some of them are in need.
Right.
So how would you go about?
Well, I know that there are several people sitting behind me, a total of 14, who we are all like-minded. There was a lot of chattering, there was a lot of conversation going on in that room, and it was all about what we could all do to help. And I think that just whoever gets this role is very, very lucky and very fortunate. But the rest of us can easily be put someplace, then they'll be very fulfilled and very excited to do that in the borough.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you, Mrs. McManaman.
Thank
You're
you.
more than welcome to stick around. We only have one more interview to conduct.
Great, thank you.
Oh, yeah, W.
You're allowed that. You served your punishment time.
Yeah, good boy, good boy.
Yeah.
Mr. Nigel Watt, welcome
Yes.
to the Emmaus Borough Council.
Thank you.
We're going to ask you 4 questions that we asked all the other candidates, and then we're going to open up questioning to the rest of the council members.
Okay.
First, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on council.
Absolutely. I bought my house on 5th Street in 2014. My goal is, I imagine, the same as everybody else's, which is I want Emmaus to continue to be a safe, walkable community that is a good place to raise my daughters.
Great. What do you believe are the challenges facing our community today, and what do you believe would be your role in helping us to face those challenges?
In my opinion, the biggest challenge facing us is the large amount of real estate that's going to be changing hands in the borough over the next few years. Rodale is leaving. The borough is consolidating its properties, and we have to look at how the community is going to make use of those properties and develop them. I was encouraged that the borough went through with the rezoning of the property behind Pennsylvania Avenue. The way I believe I could help with that is by my close attention to these land use issues, by walking through the borough every day the way I do. I'm always noticing these things. At work, I'm an environmental consultant. I have degrees in environmental engineering and earth science. So I'm comfortable with numbers, but also looking at how changes will affect the larger community, affect the larger ecosystem.
Great. The bulk of our work gets done at the committee level. For the most part, our committees meet in the afternoon between 3 and 5. Some committees even meet in the mornings. With your schedule, are you going to be able to do this? Additionally, council members traditionally commit between 25 and 30 hours per month to this position, between meetings, preparation, events, and engaging with members of the public. Do you feel you have the time to dedicate to this?
I do. I would, of course, take the position extremely seriously. My work schedule is very flexible, so I can arrange to, I have to get my 40 hours in, but I can arrange to be available whenever I'm needed. I work from my house in the borough, so it is, of course, always very easy for me to get to Borough Hall.
Great. What skill do you bring to council that you feel council needs most?
My job is helping people get through roadblocks, helping my clients usually get through roadblocks relating to regulatory orders frequently, like the borough is handling with the MS4 order from the EPA. So I think that because of my specific knowledge and experience in that area, while it appears that that's all under control, that's an effort that's going to be going on for many years. So that's something I'd be specifically interested in helping a lot with.
Great. At this time, I'll open up the questioning to the rest of council, and I'm going to start first.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with a candidate question, but you said 130 North 5th Street.
Yes.
After the alley above the post office, how many houses is that? 3?
Are you starting from the post office?
No, from the alley after the post office. 'Cause
There's
you're above
one.
that.
There's one detached house, and then it's my house, which is a twin.
I think you live in my house that I grew up in. I have to go drive by and look at the address. But I lived there till second grade. So just throwing that out there. You're living in the house I grew up in.
Okay.
So anybody else have any questions that are important?
I just have one question. Nigel, what's your community involvement? Any boards that you serve on or any commissions?
I did recently complete a term on the EAC.
Yep.
I did not request reappointment because at the time that expired, we'd recently had twins born. So the past year has been a exciting time in my house, but I'm now looking to get involved in community service again.
It could be his house, right?
But it's not.
Putting this here.
All right, thank you.
Since you did mention MS4 and that
Yes.
you're familiar with that, what do you foresee going down the road as a community such as the Borough of Emmaus has with that mandate?
Well, I mean, the mandate's not going to go away. I was encouraged that the borough did go ahead and face the problem by adding the infrastructure fee to all of our water bills. I think that, communities are already putting into place the initial steps, and it's going to be important to look at where we can get the most bang for our buck, if you will, beyond that, whether that is going to individual properties and trying to reduce any cross connections they may have, or system level improvements. I'm hoping that by analyzing some of the information the Public Works Department has, that we'll be able to get closer to an answer there.
Anybody else? Mr. Watt, thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stick around. We're going to figure this out in a few minutes. Before we do that, I'm going to request that we have a recess just because I need to go have a good cough right now before I come back. Because I've been holding it in and I just want to go have a good cough. So at this point, I'm going to call a recess at 9:45. We'll just call it like 3 minutes, all right? We're at 9:50. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, we've actually run out of space on one of the discs, but we're okay on the other one.
Okay. I usually wait to see if he's ready to start the taping before I start. That's what he's talking about. All right. So we have 13 candidates, one of which did not show. So we actually have 13. We have people that have been here from 3, 4, 8, 9, and 9 and 3 years to 39, 50 plus, 20, 30, 14, and 14. So there's a lot of people here that have a lot to contribute to this borough. So sometimes it's nice to have some outside eyes come into the borough to bring ideas. Also, it's nice to have the local guy because they know the history of the area. And sometimes it's nice to have a combination of all that. So the way I plan on proceeding with this is opening up the floor for nominations for the first open seat. Now, both open seats are the same. The term will expire of 1/31/2019. So it would be a 2-year term. And then
12/31.
12/31, I'm sorry. 12/31 of 2019. And then at that point, if that person chooses to stay on, they need to run for re-election and be elected then. And then, as we receive the nominations for the first position, we will vote on them in the order that received the nomination. So if we vote on the first nomination and that gets, Mr. Solicitor, they need 4 votes?
4. Well, let's see.
3.
We have five members tonight.
Is it 2/3 or just a majority?
It is a majority of the quorum,
So 3 votes gets us there.
3 votes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask for nominations, and then when we will vote on them in the order that we receive them. This is for the first nomination. So would somebody like to make a nomination? Councilman Dufresne.
Nominate Wes Barrett.
All right, we have Wesley Barrett.
Wesley Barrett.
Do we have any other nominations for the first position? Hearing none, do I have to take a vote to close nominations out?
You can, that Robert's Rules allows you to do that, or you can move directly to the vote. I would take a motion, take a vote,
To close the
motion
nomination?
To close the nomination.
So is there a motion to close the nominations? Councilman Anders, second. Councilman Dufresne, questions or discussion? Councilman
I
Dufresne.
just want to say that I think this is a unique situation with Mr. Barrett here, to where, unfortunately, but for good reasons, we lost a lot of experience on Borough Council on some of our very important committees. Not that every committee is not important, but some of our very important committees. I've only been a council member for 2 years here, and if I would have had somebody that was able to stay for 9 to 12 months to just teach me a little bit more during that time period, it would have made me feel much more comfortable. And the part of me says it's only 9 months and there's a lot of good candidates here, but I think we need that right now because of what we recently lost with, Lee becoming mayor, Mr. Brown moving on, and Mr. Barrett unfortunately moving out of the community here.
My comment would be, we had 3 council members move on. Madam Mayor moved on to the mayorship, if you will. And we had Councilman Brown move on as chairman of Lehigh County Board.
I don't know about that, but I'm not sure who'll ever be the chairman of Lehigh County.
Oh, what did I say? Commissioner,
Poor guy's
I'm
not
sorry.
even here and I'm still throwing
Commissioner.
digs at him.
That was awesome.
Commissioner, yeah, and we like picking on him. We're going to miss him. And also Councilman Barrett. They were all on the safety committee for how many years together?
12,
12 years.
10, all 3 of them.
So we have nobody with knowledge on that safety committee at all, including myself. And I've been on council 21 years. I've never been on that committee, but I've been on every other committee besides that. So because of that, I don't want to lose that knowledge, and I need to have 2 new people on there with him to get that transition. And I think that's very important. But with that being said, we'll need to go through this again whenever he moves out of the borough, whenever his house is built. So, anybody else would like to say anything?
No, I agree with everything that you said. I mean, he has the experience, and we have a lot of transition, so.
So I would need you to finish closing the motion.
Right.
Take a vote.
So are there any more comments? So is there, this is the vote on closing the nominations. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. So there's 5 ayes for closing the nominations. Now, we will vote on the resolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
And would it be 2?
2018-3.
3.
So we have Resolution 2018-3, a resolution of Council of the Emmaus Borough of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, appointing Council Member Wesley Barrett to a term ending December 31st, 2019. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2018-3? Councilman Dufresne, second. Councilwoman Baumgartner. Questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? There are 5 ayes. Congratulations, you're back on after your 12 years.
Hey, now you do.
What was that, a 2-day gap? 1 day.
Mr. President, you do have an option. You could have him sworn in and participate.
We'll do them both at the same
But
time.
since he didn't hear all the others, I would not do it that way. He only heard some people speak.
Yeah, I would wait.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay.
At this time, I would like to open up nominations for our second vacancy.
We have a second one, yeah.
Councilman Anders?
I would like to nominate Terry Sorg McMahon.
Mrs. McManaman?
Yes.
Is there any other nominations? Councilman Baumgartner?
I'd like to nominate Courtney Cole Kennedy.
Courtney Call Kennedy? Are there any other nominations? Councilman Dufresne?
Nominate Theodore Yobst.
Mr. Yobst? We heard the stories about your dad, how all your life you've called I Yobst, right? You get that? No? He always says that. Aye, Jobst. Any other nominations? Would somebody like to make a motion to close out the nominations? Councilman Schubsta, seconded by Councilman Anders. Any discussion? Councilman Dufresne.
I would just like to say for everybody that's here, I'm impressed by the turnout that we had for these two open positions here. The talent that, you know, background and all you have. And I would hope that, you know, you could get involved in the community to a larger extent, because I think the community needs that. There's volunteers here, you know, Terry's one of them, she does like 18 different things. You know, Kathy Minster's another one that does a lot of things, and people just get spread too thin. And I'm glad that all of you stepped up for this, and I hope you could get involved in the time period here. I hope you would all put your name out there when Mr. Barrett does leave the community here, because I think there's a lot of great people here with a lot of great skills. And outside of that, and even though you'll be running against me in 2 years, I hope all of you run for the office, because the more choices available for people, the better things are. And if you beat me, you beat me. I have no problem with that. But I'm impressed by the turnout here. So we're either doing something really well or something really poorly here. I don't know which it is, but I didn't hear a lot of complaining, and I'm happy that there were so many people show up to do this. I did this process in 2009 when Mr. Neely left, and there was only 3 of us that stepped forward to take that. This is impressive to have this many people. It speaks well for the community.
We had to replace you too.
Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Wasn't that me?
I just want to echo that sentiment. We have some very tough choices, and even the 3 names there, you know, we need to look inside and decide who we believe is going to be the true fit and can help us. But even those not chosen, there is such talent out there. And, you know, I hope, even if you're not chosen for this, you still come out to council meetings, because seeing that room back there more than half full on a given night, it shows how much you care about the community. Keep coming, come back and give us your input. Even if you're not here, you can always email us and give us feedback or something you see, something that's out there. We want to hear from you, and that goes for any resident out there. So I do truly thank you all for your time and your energy and your efforts for being here this evening.
Anybody else? I would just like to say thank you to everyone taking your time to come out tonight. I actually marked like 5 or 6 people that I'm interested that when the seat opens, when Wes leaves, that I hope that they apply, because I'm interested in contacting them and talking to them personally and finding out more information. I purposely didn't do that this time because I wanted to find out. I wanted everyone to have an equal time at the podium. So, so I want to thank everyone for coming out. And at this time, I guess we will.
You gotta vote on closing.
Vote on each name. Oh, yeah,
We'll vote on closing. So if nobody else has anything else to say, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 5 ayes. Nominations are closed. We have Terry McManaman, Courtney Cole Kennedy, and Ted Yopes. We will vote on them in the order that we received the nominations. So
And the first one to receive 3 will,
the first one to receive 3. So we have resolution.
Hold on, can I just ask?
Oh,
can I
no.
ask a
We do
question?
nomination first or resolution?
I just want to make sure I understand the process. So let's say, I guess Terry's going to be first, right?
Yes.
So let's just say one person votes yes, so it doesn't pass. That one person can vote yes for another person, and
Yes.
yes or no?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So if for some reason she does not get nominated, we go to the next
I
candidate.
understood that.
Okay.
I understand that.
So are we doing a resolution for this one too?
yes.
So we have Resolution 2018-4, a resolution of the Council of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, appointing a council member to Council Member Terry Sorg McManaman to a term ending December 31st, 2019. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilman Anders, is there a second? Councilman Schubsta. Comments, questions
I think you should probably do roll call
Yes.
for these.
for a resolution?
I think for
You
this.
can, you
because
can
have
ask for
3
roll
different
call on a
nominations.
resolution, yes.
Well, we could do a roll call with a hand vote too.
It still must be oral, but you, yes.
So I'm going to request that everyone who votes raise their hand when they answer orally, verbally too. So all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
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 You didn't raise your hand.
Correct, so, no.
Can't raise
Um,
Saying no.
That's it.
Terry McManaman is our second council member to fill a vacancy. And at this time, we will have the mayor swear them in right now. And I hope that everyone that applied tonight applies again in 9 to 12 months or 13. Wes, I'm sorry, but I think it's going to be 14 months. You're dealing with government regulation.
Yes, please.
They can have my spot in 2 years.
Are you going to do them at the same time?
Yes.
So you both may come up and we'll do this at the same time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how.
We will need you to fill this
Because
out.
I have, you know, I mean, if it didn't go through, I basically was going next to here, and then, you know, down the line. I mean, Dean Dufresne brought it up, but, you know, he's on my list right here.
You guys ready? All right, raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Wesley Barrett,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
for the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania with fidelity.
for the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania with fidelity.
That's the hardest part.
You're good.
Gotta do the fidelity.
I would shake your hands, but
Wes,
They have to sign.
we actually made 14 of these, so whoever got nominated tonight. So I need you to, sign this. What we're going to do.
congratulations.
Well, it was, like I said, it was nice to kind of hear everybody's take. What's going on.
I have 2 things for you to sign. There, and then this is an affidavit that you're saying that you live in the borough of Emmaus.
Vacancies filled.
Okay. We need
You would have seen it
to
in Coopersburg probably.
Here on the rest of tomorrow.
Oh, they just have open seats.
Right, they don't even fill them.
Yeah, or Alberta's.
Right.
This one right away. Give this right to you.
Welcome back.
I would like to have a group photo with the new council. If we could have everyone come up.
No, wait, you have to sign your own.